The latest. Thank you for your love and support. I appreciate you all. Africans, we are always talking about unity. Like ECOWAS is inviting Mali, Niger and Burkina Faso to their ECOWAS at 50th anniversary. We know that recently, the United States of America, after Libya, is targeting Capt. Ibrahim Traore. During their Senate hearing, accusing Capt. Ibrahim Traore for using Burkina Faso natural resources to protect himself, instead of using it to benefit the people. But we ask, the weapons, the tomato factory, the satellites, all the good things that we have shown the world, because these people refuse to project all the good things. Those eating democracy are selling the mineral resources at a very cheap price, allowing the oppressor, yellow papa, to keep having access to everything in Africa for free. Those ones, because they are gatekeepers and they are allowing them to have all the mineral resources cheap in Africa to develop and feed their industries. They are good ones. But Captain Ibrahim Traore, that has resisted oppression and said the people in Burkina Faso all the mineral resources that are in Burkina Faso, and for that matter, these things must be used to the benefit of the people. He is a dictator. He is rather the one that is using the resources of Burkina Faso for protection. But we ask the United States of America, are the mineral resources in Burkina Faso not for the people of Burkina? Today, Julius Malema said he will not sit down to allow other people, African Union, ECOWAS, are supposed to stand and protect their brothers, sit aloof. He will come out openly to defend Burkina Faso and encourage our all in all never to lose guard, because the hope of the African depends on him. According to Julius Malema, the leader of EFF, we are one people. What affects Captain Ibrahim Traore affects him, so he will defend Captain Ibrahim Traore with everything.
Ibrahim Traore, I write to you not as a politician, but as a fellow soldier in the struggle for African dignity. I see you. I see the fire in your eyes, the burden on your shoulders, the courage it takes to defy empires and stand for your people. They will call you a dictator. They will call you dangerous. But remember, they called Lumumba a threat. They called Sankara a rebel. What they fear is a free African. You, Captain, have chosen a path where many never return. But we, the children of Africa, are watching. We are inspired. Do not kneel to the West. Do not sell your soul to the East. Stand for the people. Feed them. Arm them, not just with weapons, but with knowledge. The continent of Africa is at a turning point. Across cities, villages, and countries, a new fire is rising. A bold demand for independence, justice, and true sovereignty. In the center of this storm stands two names electrifying the hearts of Africans worldwide: Julius Malema and Captain Ibrahim Traore. In this video, we take you deep into the heart of a powerful moment in African history. A message of unity, a rejection of neo-colonialism, and a call to every African watching. It's time to take a stand. Malema's declaration of support for Traore isn't just politics. It's a symbol of a movement that's been building for decades, the African awakening. As the West raises its voice, accusing and condemning, a louder voice is rising from the South, the voice of Africa herself. Let's unpack this revolution, not just in words, but in spirit. This is more than a message. It's a mission. Julius Malema has never been one to stay silent. As the fiery founder and leader of South Africa's Economic Freedom Fighters, EFF, Malema has built his political identity on radical truth, fearless rhetoric, and relentless advocacy for African dignity. Whether addressing parliament or rallying the youth, Malema carries the weight of revolution in his words. His support for Captain Traore isn't just a headline, it's the meeting point of two ideologies. Malema sees Traore as a kindred spirit, a leader who refuses to bow, who challenges imperialist structures, and who dares to dream of a continent where Africans are no longer second-class citizens in their own land. For Malema, this moment isn't just about Burkina Faso, it's about the soul of Africa. "We must stand with Traore because he stands with Africa," he declared. And that message is echoing across universities, townships, cities, and villages alike. Malema isn't perfect. No leader is. But his ability to ignite hope, especially among the youth, is unmatched. In a continent where many have lost faith in politics, Malema's Pan-African fire has reignited the belief that leadership can still be revolutionary. Malema's support for Traore didn't come out of nowhere. It's rooted in shared principles. Both men believe that Africa's destiny should be shaped by Africans, not dictated by foreign embassies or manipulated through economic strings. When Traore stood up to Western narratives and pushed for self-reliance, Malema saw a mirror of his own struggle in South Africa. Their message is simple, yet revolutionary. We don't hate the West. We just refuse to be controlled by it. Malema's speech rejecting U.S. accusations against Traore was not just a defense of a fellow leader. It was a defense of Africa's right to sovereignty. He called on Africans to be vigilant, to not be fooled by propaganda dressed as democracy. For Malema, Traore represents the boldness many African leaders have lacked for decades. A young man refusing bribes, resisting puppet status, and placing his people first. That kind of leadership deserves protection. And Malema made it clear that any attack on Traore is an attack on all Africans fighting for liberation. This alliance isn't political. It's deeply spiritual. It's the coming together of voices that speak not to popularity, but to purpose. They know the risks, and yet they speak louder. To understand this moment, we must confront one truth. Colonialism never truly ended. It just changed faces. Today, it's called aid, trade agreements, foreign investment, and military partnerships. But the goal remains the same: control over African resources, decisions, and direction. Neo-colonialism isn't always visible, but its impact is everywhere. African countries remain dependent on loans from institutions they didn't build. Decisions made in Washington or Paris ripple through Nairobi and Dakar. Mineral wealth is extracted while local communities remain poor. This system, masked as progress, is just a modern cage. Traore and Malema have pulled back that mask. By refusing to be silent, they force the world to look again. Neo-colonialism thrives on silence, on passivity, on leaders who obey. But a new wave is coming. Leaders who question, who demand, who reclaim. This isn't just politics. It's a revolution of the mind. For too long, Africa was told it needs saving. Now it's saying, we'll save ourselves. When the U.S. made statements questioning Traore's leadership and the direction of Burkina Faso, it wasn't just a diplomatic opinion. It was an attempt to draw the line between acceptable and unacceptable African leaders. But who gave them that right? Malema's response was swift and surgical. He rejected the notion that African leaders must earn Western approval. "We're not looking for permission, we're demanding respect," he said. And this view is spreading. From students to soldiers, people are questioning why foreign powers still play referee in African politics. Africa's response has become more united. Countries like Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso are forming coalitions that push back against external military presence. Youth movements are calling for local ownership of land, business, and destiny. This is no longer about one country. It's about the soul of a continent refusing to be shaped by outsiders. And that's why Malema and Traore matter. They're not lone wolves. They are symbols of a growing consciousness, a continent that's waking up and talking back. Pan-Africanism is no longer just an ideal buried in textbooks. It's alive, it's bold, and it's moving fast. Malema and Traore are modern torchbearers of this dream. A united Africa, rich in identity and unapologetically proud. Their rhetoric speaks not just to national change, but continental revolution. In their speeches, borders fade. One struggle, one fight, one Africa. But Pan-Africanism is more than unity against a common enemy. It's the celebration of shared history, culture, and strength. It's about building African economies that trade with each other, not just with the West. It's about rewriting education to reflect African heroes. It's about technology hubs in Lagos and Kigali, connecting with innovators in Accra and Addis Ababa. And most of all, it's about young people realizing that they don't need to escape Africa to find greatness. They can build it right here. That's the vision. That's the call. And it's growing louder with every speech, every rally, and every act of resistance. Africa is the youngest continent on Earth. Over 60% of its population is under 25. For decades, leadership across the continent has been dominated by older elites, often disconnected from the realities of the youth. But that's changing. Traore's rise to power at just 34 years old has broken that mold. His emergence isn't just symbolic, it's strategic. Young leaders bring fresh ideas, energy, and a refusal to accept the status quo. They challenge outdated alliances, question institutions that no longer serve the people, and lean into technology and innovation to solve problems. Traore represents this wave, a generation that's tired of waiting and ready to act. Julius Malema, though older than Traore, also started young. He rose through the political ranks as a firebrand youth leader, and today remains a champion for young Africans demanding space at the table. When he looks at Traore, he sees what he always believed in: leadership born from boldness, not age. This rise in youth leadership is more than a shift in faces. It's a shift in thinking. Africa's future isn't tomorrow, it's today. And it's being shaped by the fearless voices of its youth. True independence is not just political, it's economic. And right now, most African nations are still economically enslaved by debt traps, trade imbalances, and the exploitation of natural resources by foreign corporations. This is the core of what leaders like Traore and Malema are fighting to dismantle. When Burkina Faso demanded the removal of French troops and control over its own gold resources, it sent a message. Africa is tired of begging for access to its own wealth. Julius Malema has echoed this call in South Africa, pushing for the nationalization of mines, banks, and land, all to ensure that African resources benefit African people. This kind of economic liberation is dangerous to the status quo. It threatens powerful foreign interests that profit from Africa's disunity and dependency. But it's the only way forward. As long as Africa exports raw materials and imports finished products, it will remain in a cycle of poverty. The vision of economic liberation isn't about isolation. It's about fairness, equal partnerships, respect. A new system where Africa doesn't just participate in the global economy, it shapes it. Turn on the news in many Western countries, and Africa is still portrayed as a continent of crisis, poverty, war, disease, corruption. But these narratives are designed to justify intervention, to maintain a savior complex, and to distract from Africa's true story, one of strength, beauty, and endless potential. Leaders like Malema and Traore are often painted as radicals or populists by the same media outlets that once supported oppressive regimes. Why? Because they don't follow the script, because they question the powers that be, because they dare to speak the truth. Africa is not broken. It is being broken by those who fear its rise. This is why alternative media and voices like yours, Make Africa Great, are critical. We need our own platforms, our own narratives, our own storytellers. If we don't tell our story, someone else will, and they'll get it wrong. The truth is, Africa is rising, it's building, it's leading, and it's time the world saw it clearly, not through the lens of pity, but through the lens of power. This moment in history isn't just another chapter, it's a crossroads. The choices African leaders make today will echo for generations. Will the continent continue to be shaped by outside forces? Or will it finally rise on its own terms? What's at stake is nothing less than the soul of Africa. Its freedom, its wealth, its youth, its future. Leaders like Malema and Traore know this. That's why they speak boldly, not because they enjoy controversy, but because they understand the cost of silence. If Africa fails to stand united now, the consequences will be more foreign bases, more stolen resources, more broken dreams. But if it stands strong, if it embraces its power, the reward is freedom, dignity, and destiny, not just for one country, but for all 54. This isn't about Burkina Faso or South Africa alone. This is about a new Africa. And the world is watching. We often hear the phrase African unity, but what does that really mean? It's not just flags, speeches, or summit photos. True unity means shared infrastructure, shared currency, open borders for trade, and joint defense strategies. It means African countries solving African problems. Together. Imagine an Africa with a continental railway system, connecting Dakar to Dar es Salaam. Imagine youth in Uganda, accessing tech education funded by African governments, not foreign grants. Imagine a single African passport that lets citizens travel, work, and grow anywhere on the continent. That's not a dream. It's a decision. Malema and Traore both point to this kind of unity, not as a fantasy, but as a necessity. Unity doesn't mean uniformity. It means collaboration. It means strength. And it means a future where no African nation stands alone in the face of economic manipulation or military threats.
Captain Ibrahim Traore is rather using the resources to benefit himself. The president of Kenya, William Ruto, rented a 1.5 million presidential jet to go and meet Joe Biden. He wasn't wasting the state's money. He wasn't using it to protect himself. The ex-president of a country called G rented a jet that he was paying in pounds, and he was bathing in the air. Even the one who manufactured that jet is not using it. Such presidents are not using it for their benefit. All the African leaders that we have that are under democratic elected, that are wasting the resources of the state because it's of the benefit of Jolo Papa. Those leaders are good. No wonder Captain Ibrahim Traore said these ones paid so that their images will be clean. The same thing they did with Gaddafi is what they are starting with Captain Ibrahim Traore. But Julius Malema is saying that if nobody will rise up and defend Captain Ibrahim Traore, he will do. And we all as the youth in Africa have to all rise up and support and protect Captain Ibrahim Traore. Assimi Goita, Abdurrahmani Chiani are generous. Because when these three leaders should succeed, we have succeeded. The freedom that we are looking for has finally come. Let us not see them to be only leaders of Burkina, Mali, and Niger, like these people always make us to believe that we are different people. Our unity can never be achieved if we continue to sing the songs of the colonial callous. We don't have borders. There is nothing called Nigeria, Togo. These things are to the benefit of these imperialists, Jolo Popo. These are the things that we need African Union to be quick in acting, but African Union is quiet. But when they decided to rise up and fight for their own sovereignty, African Union was quick to put sanctions. No wonder they always say your summits are sponsored by Jolo Popo. So there is no way you ever back an African against your masters. Yet we sit down and say we want freedom, we want unity. It will never come on a silver platter. ECOWAS is singing. They want them back into the bloc. And we should look beyond the colonial borders. What have it said concerning what US have accused the president of Burkina Faso? As they've started saying this, they're after something. For how long shall they kill our prophets while we stand aside and watch? We must act. Prayers will not change the narrative in Africa. These people who brought you the religions you are holding on to are manufacturing weapons to protect themselves. They are buying weapons here and there. And we are praying. Prayers can never kill a bullet. So we should understand that if our heroes will be protected, we have to act. We have to stand up and defend them physically. Because the one that is coming is not coming with the Bible or the Quran. They are coming with weapons. So if you don't fight them with weapons, if you don't fight them with your physical strength, forget it. The African is the only one that can save himself. There is no other person. So crying and praying will never change the narrative. if we don't rise up and look for the same weapons these people are fighting us with, to fight them, we will never make any headway. We will never achieve the freedom that we want, because over 500 years we have been praying, no result. Africa is even going backwards, because now the food, the vegetation, the water bodies are all being destroyed by these same people. And you keep praying. Has prayers changed the narrative? Like Captain Ibrahim Traore said, if we want freedom, we should be ready to fight. United we stand, divided we fall, and united we keep standing forever and ever. The greatest enemy of the African is mental slavery. So let's decolonize ourselves from mental slavery. Let's keep sharing to educate our brothers and sisters. Together we make Africa great for ourselves and the next generations that are going to come. So that's the latest around the world, in Africa, Southern Africa, and in South Africa.